All season long, our Fox 4 Playoff Committee has put out their weekly top 10 on Sunday. We'll take you inside our committee meeting as we debate who the 4 playoff teams should be as we head into the final weekend. Check your local listings for the Fox College Football Playoff Preview Show. Just about time for the 108th meeting between the Cougars and the Huskies, a series that heavily favors Washington, but it is Washington State that enters this one as the ranked team. Time now for Determining Factors, sponsored by FanDuel. Matt, ever the quarterback eyeing big plays on offense.
Yeah, that absolutely. And also, I want to look at Washington's defense in this secondary. They have to limit the big play. Even with Peyton Bender at quarterback, this offense is still designed to score a lot of points. They have a very, very talented wide receiver core. The Huskies' defense has been good all year long, but there's a lot of pressure on that secondary to limit the big play today.
Yeah, there is. You know, I'm kind of looking at Washington's offense from the other side and how they can help out. You got two, I don't care who the quarterback is. You know, Mike Leach, he's going to throw the ball down the field. And Washington needs to be really advantageous from the standpoint of make every possession count. You know, make the first downs, get in manageable third downs. You know, give your young quarterback a chance to convert on third down and keep the ball away from Washington.
Coach, does he let Bender start throwing it?
He will.
Right off the bat.
You'd love to play from Mike Leach.
We throw the ball 60 times a game.
You wouldn't care about the defense.
He will throw the ball. He will throw the ball all over the field today. Try at least.
Regardless of who's at quarterback. And again, Falk has not been officially ruled out, but you saw him on the sidelines at the pregame wearing the civvies. Read the nonverbals. He's out. Who wins this one?
I still got Washington State 27-17. It's going to be a tough game. Peyton Bender is going to get the job done. They have a talented offense. It's the defense from Washington State that makes enough plays in this football game.
Washington has all the motivation in the world. They need this win to get to a bowl game. I take Washington 24-17. They control the clock. They control the ball. They win the game.
All right, we'll see you next at halftime. Now out to Seattle. The two calling the game for you, Joe Davis and Brady Quinn.
All right, Rob, in the Apple Cup, just like it should be on a perfect Friday afternoon in Seattle. The 108th meeting between 20th-ranked Washington State and Washington. And we say welcome inside. Joe Davis with Brady Quinn. Chris Budden joins us in just a moment. Brady, let's start off talking about Washington State, number 20 in the country, their best season in more than a decade. And they've done it largely because Luke Falk has been one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But we found out earlier today he will not play those back-to-back weeks, suffering apparent head injuries.
Yeah, head coach Mike Leach did not want to let the cow out of the barn. We found out earlier today it will indeed be Peyton Bender. And it'll be a tough task for a player who, you know, this is his first start on the road in the Apple Cup, but we're going to look at Luke Falk, and this is a prolific passer, one of the best in the country. One of the keys about Luke Falk is his ability to take care of the football. That's going to be key for Bender today, not allowing any turnovers and not getting any momentum to this Washington Huskies defense.
Yeah, and that Washington Huskies defense has been a big part of the story for Chris Peterson's team this year. They're 5-6, got a true freshman at quarterback, so the defense has been that much more important. They've been number 1 in the Pac-12 so far.
And it's because of the pressure that they can put on you with guys like Corey Littleton and Travis Feeney off the edge. Then they've got the back end coverage in their second to be able to cover with the best in the Pac-12. This should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, what a perfect day for it too. On senior day, there is Feeney getting honored as part of the senior class with the temperatures in the low 40s, bright sunshine in Seattle. Man, it's perfect. A rivalry game as this college football season winds down. Washington State. It's the Apple Cup, and it's next on Fox.
Right. It's our leg! It's our leg!
Releases the ball. Bailey wide open. Touchdown.
Play fake going into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington State. Villanova with the catch. It is intercepted. Covered that backward pass. And the game is over. Oh, my goodness. Caught by Jackson. Touchdown, Washington State. Holy smoke, Chris Jackson.
This great rivalry dates back to 1900. They used to play for what was called the Governor's Trophy. They've been playing for the Apple Cup since 1962. How about this? The last 7 meetings where one team has been ranked, the unranked team is 4-3. So Washington trying to continue that trend, knocking off Washington State today. This is a long-running rivalry, and for more on a family that's got deep ties to it, we welcome in Chris Button.
The thing you got to love about these rivalries is it always brings out some fun storylines, Joe. And for one Washington State player, it's more about blood than it is bragging rights. Peyton Pallure is a fourth-generation Cougar. It all started with his grandfather, Carl, in the 1920s. Then that was his great-grandfather. Then his grandfather, John, a defensive end. And then his dad, Scott, was a linebacker also for the Cougars. But Peyton will tell you, he didn't always grow up a Cougar fan. In fact, he had more purple in his closet. That's because his dad was an assistant coach for the Huskies. And then his brother, Cooper, also played for UW. But the little brother decided to continue the family tradition in Pullman. And the whole family will be here today. Even though, Joe, it's a house divided, they're going to be sitting with the Cougar fans.
And it is a stadium divided. Obviously more Washington fans, but an electric atmosphere as we approach kick. Washington State won the toss. They've elected to receive, so strength on strength to begin. #1 passing offense in the country against the #1 defense in the Pac-12. Tristan Vizcaino to send it away with Tavares Martin Jr. waiting back. Off we go from Seattle. Washington State to start at the 14-yard line, the nation's #1 passing offense, but with Peyton Bender making his first career start.
Well, we talked about it. Peyton Bender has big fills to fill in replace of Luke Falk. He's actually been pretty clutch coming in the past 2 weeks, throwing a couple of touchdown passes, but he's going up against the #1 defense in the Pac-12. Travis Feeney, Corey Littleton, they'll be providing a lot of the pressure off the edge.
It's the #1 D in the conference despite losing 7 starters from last year, including 4 to the NFL draft. Bender to begin with a straight drop. Over the middle, he's got John Thompson for 15 yards and a Washington State first down.
A couple of the things that the coaching staff at Washington State loved about Peyton Bender is his quick release. Mike Leach described his arm and his motion as flashy. You're going to see a lot of that today. This team throws the ball about 70 times, 60 times a game.
Redshirt freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Playing in his 5th game, but making his first start. Checks it down. Gerard Wicks pays the price with a loss of 4. It is Kevin King, Jr. from San Leandro, California. And it's 2nd down and 13 coming up.
You know, Joe, running back Gerard Wicks had his first 100-yard rushing game last week. They're going to have to rely on him and the rest of the running backs to help take a little bit of pressure off of Peyton Bender in his first collegiate start here on the road.
Yeah, that was the first 100-yard rushing game under Mike Leach at Washington State. Bender on time and on target to the former running back Robert Lewis, who's slammed down by Kevin King, and it's 3rd down.
When this is where the defense for Washington's been so effective, and Peyton Bender's going to have to make sure he takes care of the football, in particular on 3rd down. Well, the Washington Huskies defense really likes to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. We talked about Littleton, we talked about Feeney, but it's in part possible because their defensive tackles get such a good push in the interior of the defensive line.
On 3rd and 6, Bender well protected. Time to scan and throw for Gabe Marks with his league-leading 93rd reception of the season and a first down.
Look at the patience of Peyton Bender. Just sits in the pocket, waits for Gabe Marks to find a window to get open. Clearly a 3-man rush is not going to be able to hit home versus this Washington State offensive line. However, they have averaged giving up 3 sacks a game. We'll see if this offensive line can sustain that sort of protection the entire game.
That was impressive there. They've got Riley Sorensen back at center after missing last game. Joe Dahl still out at left tackle. First running play, and Gerard Wicks to midfield with a pickup of about 6. 123 yards, you mentioned it last game. The first 100-yard rushing game at Washington State under Mike Leach. Trying to support the freshman today.
And they've got a number of running backs that they'll mix in. Number 25, Jamal Moreau. Number 24, Keith Harrington. They all help share the load, and they'll take off some of that burden of the Washington State quarterbacks.
Empty set on 2nd and 4, and against a 3-man rush, Bender steps up, zings one into a tight window for a first down. It's Marks again, having a monster season. First down inside the 30.
And Peyton Bender is showing no signs whatsoever of being hesitant or being scared in his first collegiate start. You've got to love the way this young man has come out and taken the field today.
He's played important snaps each of the last 2 weeks. At the Rose Bowl, came in for Falcon, threw a touchdown, and then finished the game last week in the 27-3 win against Colorado. The twist is picked up. The offensive line getting the job done on this opening drive. And Tyler Baker, the 5th-year senior, has 4 on his first catch.
Well, you got to wonder at some point if the defensive coordinator for Washington, Pete Kwiatkowski, doesn't want to start bringing more than just a 3-man pressure. Typically, they bring more of a 4-man pressure, and they're able to hit home with it. But so far, the 3 big boys up front for Washington have not created any sort of penetration.
And they like those guys on the back end, the Huskies do, so they can afford to bring some more heat. Harrington motions out. Off the right side goes Morrow, who's shut down by Sidney Jones. It's a gain of 1, and it's 3rd down and about 5 for the Cougars. There's Mike Leach, 4th season as head coach at Washington State. 14th year overall, had that decade at Texas Tech. His team has it 3rd and 5 on their first drive.
3rd and 5, these critical situations, they like to work to number 80, Dom Williams, on one side of the field, or number 9, Gabe Marks, on the other.
Screen play, it's Williams, but he dropped it. And the whistle comes late, calling it an incomplete pass.
4th down.
Normally you'd say here comes a field goal, but they go for it as often as anybody.
A very catchable ball for Dom Williams. You know, the coaching staff talked about him having some of the best hands on the team. A surprising drop, and I won't go too far in saying this, but a bit surprising too. We're not seeing Washington State go for it on 4th down. They go for it just about as much as anyone in the country, Joe.
41 times this year. They will send the field goal team out, try to get the game's first points. Eric Powell has had a good season from 41. And Washington State with points on the game's first drive. The Apple Cup. Boy, I know you can feel it in here. Hope you can feel it at home too. What an atmosphere for the 108th meeting of Washington and Washington State. Fox College football is presented by Kay Jewelers, and back at Husky Stadium in Seattle. During the break, Lincoln Kennedy, former Washington great, going into the College Football Hall of Fame this year, was honored. Played on the '91 National Championship team. Played in the '92 Snow Bowl in this series that Washington fans would rather forget. Big man, huh? We saw him down on the field.
He is as big as a house. I mean, my gosh, who would not want to have that big fella blocking for you up front as a quarterback? I just don't know if I'd be able to see from behind him. He's so
a big dude. The Washington to get it for the first time. Quentin Brashears handling the kickoff duties today as Chico McClatcher is actually standing up, ready to return this kick. He hid in the end zone last week on a trick play to Starr and took it back 50 yards. Contained here, back to the 23. That's where Washington begins with this young group that's shown flashes, still looking for consistency. Brady, give us what we're watching for.
Well, part of the maturation process for any quarterback is being able to put together 2 back-to-back good games. Jake Browning had a great game versus Arizona earlier this year, then struggled versus Utah. Well, he had a great game last week versus Colorado. Can he follow it up? And he's going against a defense that's much improved. First-year defensive coordinator Alex Grinch has got this defensive front playing very well, penetrating the backfield and getting tackles for loss.
They start with a handoff to Myles Gaskin, and the penetration from that defensive line shows up. They're top 10 in the country in tackles for loss, and start the game with one from Vial.
Yeah, we talked about Vial. He's one of those guys up front who's going to be tough to block. He receives a lot of double teams, even sometimes triple teams from opposing offensive lines, but he's very quick off the football and very strong at the point of attack.
This defense coming off a game in which it held the Pac-12 opponent out of the end zone for the first time since '06. Jadon Mickens slipped his way across the 20 to get a couple. Stopped by Parker Henry. And third down for Jake Browning in this offense.
I mean, you look at Jake Browning and really the production he's had all year long. He's done a good job of continuing to improve each week. You can see it throughout the course of the season. He's doing a better job of taking care of the football, but really it's in the clutch moments, third down, red zone, that I think he's just got to be a little bit more consistent and being a better decision maker.
Facing the worst third down defense in the Pac-12 in Washington State. On 3rd and 9, they back off, dropping 9 into coverage, into tight windows. Dante Pettis, Mr. Third Down for the Huskies with his first catch of the day to move the chains.
This is part of the patience that we're seeing out of both quarterbacks so far today. Browning works to the right side of the field, doesn't see anything, comes back to Dante Pettis, who's able to find a hole in the zone.
Some of that signature pre-snap movement before the handoff to Gaskin for a short gain.
The offensive coordinator, Jonathan Smith, does a really nice job of forcing defenses to have to adjust to different personnel groups, different formations. Really puts a lot of pressure on teams coming into that week of preparation, having to practice for a variety of things.
Alex Grinch, D coordinator for Wazoo, told us, look, we know we're going to get that. We're telling our guys, trust your rules. Fake the McClatcher. Slipped through a play that looked like it was blown out. Gaskin able to get 3 or 4. Third down on Washington's first drive. Back-to-back carries for Gaskin, who's nearing 1,000 yards. He'd be the first true freshman in Washington history to hit 1,000 yards in a single season.
I think the coaching staff called him a bit of a pleasant surprise in the sense that they didn't see him being this consistent all year long like he has been for a true freshman.
Converted 1 third down on this drive when Wazoo rushed just 2. Here they bring only 3, and a deep ball. He's got him, but overshot Mickens. And it's 4th down. He had blown by Charleston White.
It's one-on-one coverage on the outside, and Mickens is the guy that Washington would like to take advantage of on this particular play. Browning just too much on the football, and if there's a weak part of this young man's game, it's probably hitting some of those deeper passes. He just struggles at times to give his wide receivers an opportunity to catch the football.
We get all kinds of pre-snap movement from the offense. You didn't see it. I promise you, there was just a bunch of pre-snap movement from the punt team, too. Kind of a punt version of the swinging gate. That play clock winding out. That's a delay of game. Head referee today is Mike Batlin.
Delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, makes 4th down.
Well, that's the problem when you have a bunch of shifts and motions and the opportunity to change a bunch of things, whether that's on offense or even on special teams. You got to be cognizant of the play clock and make sure that you're able to move everyone around, but still have enough time to execute the play you're looking to.
Corey Durkee is the punter. Was removed last time we were here against Utah for dropping his snap in the rain, but has recovered well. Man in motion. Low snap, catches this one off a bounce. And a line drive. Not his best effort. Down at the 31-yard line. Now Washington State's offense back to work, getting a field goal on its first possession. #1 passing offense in the country returns when you do. Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers, is sponsored by Volkswagen. Get a great deal during the Volkswagen Sign Then Drive event. 3-0 Washington State. Peyton Bender in this offense, ready to come back out. If it looked like he was particularly comfortable in that first drive, even though it's his first career start, it is because he probably ran this offense in high school.
Yeah, he's actually from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is very far away from the Pacific Northwest. But at Cardinal Gibbons High School, he ran almost the exact same system. The coaching staff has been going up to Pullman to visit with Mike Leach in the spring for quite some time.
From the 31-yard line, this drive begins with another throw. Thrown high and incomplete. Oh, Budda Baker. Lonely spot right now in the middle of this, close to his sellout crowd.
The Washington defense was starting to collapse the pocket around Bender. He wasn't able to really get into his throw all the way and follow through, which caused the ball to sail high. Budda Baker had a just early Christmas gift wrap for him, but he couldn't bring it in.
On second down to the sideline, John Thompson has it for a Washington State first down, dropped in beautifully by Bender.
And that's the difference between Peyton Bender and maybe some other quarterbacks that Washington State was looking at. Is this young man is a passer. He's not a thrower. He's able to put balls with touch into spaces that allow the wide receivers to run to him and get open. He's got a very special arm and a special ability to be able to throw in windows that some quarterbacks just don't know how to.
Four-man rush. Got rid of it. Over the middle for a first down to Tavares Martin Jr. Inside the 30 on a 28-yard completion.
The true freshman out of Belle Glades, Florida, providing a bit of a spark. I mean, they've got a ton of guys on the outside who can make plays in space. Talked about 10 different receivers catching the football in their 11 games this season. That's one of the blueprints of Mike Leach offenses. They spread the ball around to all these guys and they rotate them all in.
Yeah, there is no balance as far as run and pass. Balance comes in their distribution. They continue to distribute. This one's dropped by Kyle Sweet. Second drop we've seen from Washington State today.
And if you're the Washington defense, you can only hope to contain the Washington State passing offense. So where you've got to play well is this part of the field. As they enter into the red zone, the Husky defense has to be stout, has to use the fact that they're playing in a much smaller field now so they can break on those balls a little bit easier, and the throwing windows for the Washington State offense are going to be much tighter.
Under pressure, dumps it off for Harrington. Keyshawn Bierria knocks it loose. Look out! Loose ball is recovered by let the crowd tell you. Azeem Victor.
Ruling on a field is a catch and a fumble recovered by the defense.
It's all Keyshawn Bierria. He recognizes the screen right away. He's able to get his hand in on the football to jar it loose. And it's Azeem Victor able to finally come up with the football after the bottom of that scrum. This has been one of the things that Chris Peterson teams have really thrived on. His defense of being able to get turnovers and then be able to convert them into points.
So Washington's defense comes up with a big play, setting the offense up pretty. Fox College Football is presented by Kay Jewelers. But a fun start to this one. Washington State with a field goal on its first drive, and then Keith Arrington coughs it up. Washington starts at the 41.
The Washington defense, that's 50 turnovers now generated in 26 games under Chris Peterson.
Started Mickens in the backfield, motioned him out. Snap was dropped, and Browning's back on it. And so that takes some of the air out of it after they stole the momentum.
Snap just a bit off to the throwing hand of Jake Browning. Didn't seem like it was something that he couldn't handle, but see him upset about the exact spot. A lot of times as a quarterback, If that shotgun snap isn't right on point, it throws off all the timing in your passing game.
So 2nd down and 17. Only a 3-man rush. Browning with time. Zips one. Tipped and caught. Look what I found, says Dante Pettis. Jeremiah Allison with a tackle. It'll be 3rd and 7 or 8.
Browning trying to work into the zone coverage. You can see the Washington State defense just reading his eyes. Dante Pettis able to come up with the tip ball for a reception. Boy, he's really been clutch for them at times this season, not only on offense, but also in the return game, returning some punts.
2 punts taken back for touchdowns for him, and a couple of catches already today. 6th-year senior Deontay Cooper in to help protect. Sideline, Mickens, 1st down. On time, on target from Browning.
The defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, likes to bring some pressure at times. That's part of this more aggressive Washington State defense we've seen this season. That time brought pressure, but quarterback Jake Browning sat in there tough. The offensive line for Washington held up just enough for Browning to get the ball to Mickens.
Jamon Dotson, seldom used running back, is into the game, and trick play. It's McClatcher. Gets a block and explodes for the Washington touchdown. McClatcher the score, McGarry the block. Washington with its first lead.
Well, McClatcher had a touchdown last week on a little quick flip to him out of the backfield. This time, it's on a reverse. And McClatcher's got the type of speed where once he gets to the edge of a defense, he's going bye-bye.
Van Winkle's extra point is good. So Chris Peterson of them. And the first score of the game for Washington off a trick play. Jonathan Smith, the OC, told us this week, yeah, we've got something for Chico. And they did. Fox College football is presented by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And sponsored by Safe Auto. Call, click, and enjoy the road ahead. Back in Seattle. Temperature in the low 40s. Crisp, perfect day for football. Until we got to walk down to the field and wear our coats and gloves.
As head coach Mike Leach said, there's never really any sun in this stadium.
No, even when it's sunny.
Even when it's sunny, because of the way it's constructed, it's always blocking out. Need that warmth getting down there onto the field.
He joked around, throwing shade, no pun intended, at Seattle, that it's never sunny here anyways, so you might as well have the big overhangs. His words, not mine. Tavares Martin back to the 25-yard line. Well, what a season it's been for Coach Leach and this Washington State team. Although, to begin the year, that loss to Portland State, that was a low point for this program. Started off 0-1, but then got rolling. 6 conference wins, first one at Oregon since 03. They've won 6 of 7 overall now, with the losses by 1 score to Cal and Stanford. And this is a team, I realize there have been some late wins, but not far off from being in the college football playoff discussion.
You could make the argument they could very well be undefeated this season, as close as they've played in some of their losses.
You could also make the argument the other way, that they should be below 500 with the close games that they've been able to pull out. 4 fourth quarter wins as Gabe Marks gets his 3rd catch, this one for 6. Bender thrown down. Corey Littleton on his senior day gets the sack, makes it 3rd and long.
We've talked about it. This is one of the issues you're going to have, is the speed rush by Littleton up top. He's able to utilize his hands to slap them away, and then it's really small, slender size that he has. He's only 230 pounds coming off the edge. It's very hard for some of those big boys to be able to move their feet enough to get in front of him.
flags come flying before that ball was snapped. See if they got Washington to jump off or if there was movement on the Washington State side.
Offside, defense, number 90 by contact. Correction, 99. 5-yard penalty, makes third down.
Before this, 3rd and shorts, check in with Chris Button.
I've been watching Bender in between series, and he does not sit down or stay still. He spends the entire time throwing right up until he has to get out there. Brady, is that maybe more of a nerves, or is that the Florida boy trying to stay warm in this cold weather?
It's a little bit of both. Trying to stay warm, but everyone's got to have their routine of being able to stay loose too.
Finds Lewis with it out for the first down. Bierria with the tackle. They needed 2, and that penalty on 3rd down helps them convert.
Yeah, it was huge, and you could see Bender kind of changing the plays and communicating to everyone out there on the offense for Washington State. You know, his high school coach and offensive coordinator said about 99% of their offense there at Cardinal Gibbons High School, where Bender played, is essentially the same. So he walked into Washington State knowing all the calls, all the reads, and everything, just a matter of performing.
Yeah, he went to Texas Tech, not at the same time Leach was there, but their paths had crossed and had that influence because of it. Look out for Gerard Wicks. What air raid. 19 on the ground and a first down into Washington territory.
And he's a tough, physical runner standing at 6 foot, 224 pounds. Once he gets ahead of steam, he's tough to bring down. And we talked about it's an air raid offense, but they really do pass to set up the run, and they'll want to continue to keep working on that run with a redshirt freshman quarterback today in his first collegiate start.
First down and 10. Well protected again. Lofting for Baker. Dropped it in. And he got his feet down. Thing of beauty, Brady Quinn. 21 yards and a first down.
Well, this is exactly what you mean.
Catch, first down.
When you talk about arm talent, a lot of people thinks that means a strong arm, and it does, but it also encompasses the ability to be able to drop throws in all over the field with touch, and that's exactly what Bender just did.
I'm not sure that that was a catch, but they're going. Wow. Bender stands in, zips it too tall for Williams. What do you think?
It looked like Baker's toe may have been out of bounds. Catches it left. Yeah, he has possession, then gets his left foot in.
So
it was the right foot. Yeah, the right foot is what I saw kind of hit the line right there. Yeah. But clearly his left foot was down first. That's a solid play. Just overall great throw, great catch.
I'm sure now, by the way, that was a catch. 2nd and 10. Bender again, calm in the pocket, almost gets picked. Sidney Jones. So you're seeing some of the difference, right, in Peyton Bender and Luke Falk. Kind of a gunslinger, takes some chances, though.
He's going to take some chances because he's got all day. His offensive line has done a good job of providing him time in the pocket. And the Washington defense has only chosen to rush 3. We'll see if they decide to bring 4 guys now. We saw Littleton get a sack earlier with that strategy.
Play clock collapsing. Bender knows it. Gets it off. They rush 4. Marks can't pull it in. 4th down. Defended by Jones. A little bit too tall. 4th and 10 at the 25.
And great coverage on the outside by Sidney Jones. You know, Jones and King combined, 2 of the top 3 in the Pac-12 against the pass. Opponents have an extremely hard time completing passes against these 2 cornerbacks. They've done a very nice job this season for the Washington defense.
And Powell comes out for his 2nd field goal, hit from 41. This from 42. Nope. Just missed. Couple of nice drives for Washington State, but only 3 points to show for it.
Well,
we saw the Washington State offense drive down the field, but again, it was the Husky defense being stout, being able to get stops on third down to force field goals, and that's really the game plan. That's how you beat Washington State, is you force them to kick field goals as opposed to allow them to scoring touchdowns in the red zone. They're going to put up yards. That's just part of the air raid system and playing so fast and putting up a ton of numbers.
From the 25-yard line, here's Gaskin. Oh, got crunched by Pelluer, but slipped away. Not a gain of 2. Second down and 8 for a guy playing in his first Apple Cup game. We were talking with Jonathan Smith before the game. He said he noticed last night at the team meal, you've not played at an Apple Cup. You've not played at an Apple Cup. Went down the list. So many of these guys in this spot for the first time.
Yeah, but then there's a player like Deontay Cooper, who we may see today at running back, was here in 2010. He's been a part of a number of them.
He's at his 6th season. Nicely thrown ball to Joshua Perkins, who's having his best season. That moves the chains on a gain of 10.
Yeah, Perkins and Daniels at the tight end position for Washington. Done a nice job of being a security blanket for Jake Browning.
Washington State brings an extra man. That one's thrown wide of Renfro. Moulton with the coverage, 2nd and 10. Moulton, a true freshman. He's been their best corner so far this year. Browning's gone over 2,500 yards on the season. That's a record for a true freshman at UW.
Gaskin close to 1,000. The only other true freshman duos to accomplish that, Chad Henne and Mike Hart at Michigan in 2004.
Gaskin, nice cut. Good strength to drag Palacio for a ride and a gain of 6. 3rd and 4.
He's a rare combination of size and speed with Myles Gaskin. He's only 5'9", but what that allows him to do is stick his foot in the ground and change direction at the drop of a dime.
He comes out. You mentioned the 6th-year senior Deontay Cooper. He comes in. Mickens in motion with a little fancy spin before. Cooper with a carry. And he appears to be a yard short to bring this first quarter to a close. Perhaps Chris Peterson has a decision here with a 4th down and 1 to open the second. His team in front 7-3. One of the Pac-12's youngest teams trying to become bowl eligible. The Apple Cup back in '75. What a game that was, huh? We both read about that one.
Alvin Burleson, the 93-yard interception return for a touchdown, gave way to Warren Moon to Spider Gaines.
Big time.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Saw some clips from '82 and '91 as well as we welcome it back to Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Chris Budden. And a 4th down and 1 to begin the second quarter in this 108th meeting between Washington and Washington State. And the punt team comes out.
And one guy to keep your eye on is number 5, Jeff Lindquist. He's a backup quarterback, but he really provides a lot of flexibility for this Washington punt team to run fakes and handles all the communication up front as well.
Better snap this time. Better punt as well. And a fair catch from Marks. They give the ball to Washington State at the 15 or 16-yard line. Peyton Bender in this offense ready to come back out. How about the game we got for you tomorrow? Number 6 Notre Dame and 9th-ranked Stanford. Irish trying to battle back into the top 4. Stanford still lurking. If there's some teams that stumble, 7 Eastern on Fox. You don't have any interest in that one, do you?
I might watch it.
You're going to be down in studio, right?
I will be. I'll be in L.A. Watching it along with Matt Leinart and Coach Wannstedt, taking it all in.
Don't forget Rob Stone.
Of course.
He's got a tie bar on, I'm sure. 7-3 Washington. And Peyton Bender and Washington State beginning this drive with a run play that's blown up. Travis Feeney stopping Gerard Wicks for a loss of 2.
And that's one of the better things that Corey Littleton and Travis Feeney do, both off the backside edge. They continue to track down plays. They never give up, always giving full effort. A lot of times you've got these pass rush specialists on the outside that kind of take some of those run plays off. Not Feeney and Littleton.
Good sign for Washington fans that he's making an impact early. He left the game last week in the first quarter with a shoulder injury. He's had four shoulder surgeries in his time here in Seattle. Bender steps up into a tight window for John Thompson, who came into this game with only 18 catches all year. He's got 3 already.
Well, they're using a lot of crossing patterns around the line of scrimmage in the backfield. And what's that doing is it's helping us create more space in the middle of the field. In particular, something that John Thompson's taking advantage of now. Bender throwing balls, allowing Thompson to sit in some of those zone windows.
Gets rid of it quickly to Marks, who got a block from Thompson this time and got 8 yards. Kevin King with a tackle. 2nd and 2. Marks lost his shoe.
He sure is a special player. So smooth in and out of his routes. Had good hands, is smart. Kind of interesting player as well when you read some of his press clippings and so forth. He's got a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Fun to talk to.
School record 219 receptions now. Bender drilling the slant, 1st down. Daniel Lilienthal, only his 4th catch of this season. He becomes the 8th player already to have a reception.
Well, one thing the Washington State wide receivers are going to have to do, make contested catches. This Washington defense is very tough on the outside. They almost stay at your hip, almost like your shadow. So you've got to be used to be able to catch the football with a guy hanging on your back.
It's a great confidence-building game for this UW secondary in the Apple Cup last year in Pullman on a frigid night. Bender dumps it off. Robert Lewis one-on-one with Bieria. Gets 4. And it'll be 2nd down.
You know, we talked to head coach Mike Leach earlier this week, Joe, and he talked about how his systems run. It's basically about space and personnel. And he said, look, if you have top-of-the-line personnel, you can run any offense. Because when you don't, you have to utilize space, spread things out, and force opponents to have to play those one-on-one battles with greater space and not use leverage. That's essentially what you see here.
2nd down. Bounce into the outside is Wicks. A flag is down. Couple of flags go flying as Buda Baker makes the tackle, and this one is coming back.
This might be a holding on number 60, Andre Dillard. It's what allowed Wicks to be able to get out to the outside so easily.
Holding, offense number 60. 10-yard penalty, made 2nd down.
It's seldom you see an offense be able to get to the outside. As you can see, number 60, Andre Dillard, his hands on the outside and obviously there as Joe Mathis turns to try to follow the football. Can't even get spun all the way around. They're going to see that, I would think, 10 times out of 10, maybe 9.
Dillard making the start for Joe Dahl, who misses his 4th game in a row. 2nd down and 12. Bender, incomplete. Sweet broke off the route, sailed over his head, and it's 3rd down.
That's one of the things that Peyton Bender's going to have to get used to. As he gets more reps and more opportunities, is this Washington defense is going to confuse you at times. They're going to change coverage. They're going to roll those safeties. And what happened there was the Washington State wide receiver broke off his route. He saw something different than what Bender saw. Bender anticipated it, but ended up being an incomplete pass. Now you find yourself in 3rd and long. That's tough sledding trying to work uphill against this defense.
Well protected, floating for Marks, but it's knocked out of there by Buda Baker, who dropped an interception earlier, but makes the play here, and it's 4th down.
Well, that's why it's so tough to pass against this Washington defense. Buda Baker's reading it all the way, and look how fast he was able to break up on the ball, be able to hit Marks just in time to now allow him to complete the catch. Bender disappointed, but again, he's got his work cut out for him today. This is the best defense in the Pac-12.
Charmy to punt it. Look out for Dante Pettis, who's taken 3 back for touchdowns in his career. Bit of a meek fair catch there, but it got the job done at the 10 on a 38-yard punt. 108th meeting between these programs. It's the Apple Cup, and it's back after this. Nice 2-year extension for Chris Peterson announced this week through 2020.
A lot of perks in that contract, too.
Not too bad, huh?
A couple cars in there, some other stuff. They really sweeten the pot.
You must have your agent.
I don't know about that. I was actually thinking maybe I just need to get into coaching.
Yeah, or that. So after a nice punt from Charmy, Washington begins his drive at its own 10-yard line. Darrell Daniels motions into the formation and helps block for a Gaskin run. Jeremiah Allison with the tackle, 2nd and 8. It's Washington State defense in the first year under Alex Grinch has turned things around big time. 2 touchdowns per game better than last year.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier in the game. It's because they get so much penetration up front. Those negative plays on 1st and 2nd down cause their opponents to be 3rd and longer situations to help their defense get off the field.
Facing this multiple Washington offense, which runs play action, letting the routes develop. Mickens is free. Jadon Mickens into Washington State territory with a stare down of his good buddy Jeremiah Allison after 41 yards.
Just a brilliant play design by offensive coordinator Jonathan Smith. They used the tight end Joshua Perkins to actually hold that near side safety to allow Mickens to get across the field for the big play.
Lavon Coleman with a pickup of 4 to go back to that long completion that you liked.
Yeah, we're going to watch number 82, Joshua Perkins. He's going to come sit right there. What this does is it holds that defender and allows all that space for Mickens to be able to get downfield. Just a brilliant play design.
Jonathan Smith told us he thought they would have to hit some play action shots downfield. The O-line has not protected well enough to just drop back and heave it down there. And they used some play action there to get Mickens for 41. On 2nd down, again he's well protected, but the coverage well enough where he's got to move off his spot and take off for a Washington 1st down.
Well, and really credit number 58, Caleb McGarry. You're going to see him push the Washington State defender by. A 2-for-1 special to allow Browning to get to the outside and upfield. You know, Browning's not necessarily known for his athleticism, but he does utilize it well and wisely. It seems very timely whenever he's scrambling downfield to pick up 1st downs or just create a negative play into a positive play.
Got 15 there, 1st down at the 26. Gaskin back in. Gaskin left side. Gaskin bouncing. Pelor with help from Dotson to push him out after 5 on 1st down, 2nd down.
And that was all Myles Gaskin. Andrew Kirkland, one of the Washington offensive linemen, kind of missed his assignment. And Gaskin kind of just gave the guy a quick little move and beat him to the outside to be able to pick up about 5 yards on the play.
And Gaskin now with exactly 1,000 yards this season. Gets it on the Wildcat. There is a flag down as Pelor makes the tackle. Talk about how multiple they are. Did they trick themselves there into an illegal formation?
Well, it might be, but it looks like Browning was upset about something with the side judge.
Illegal formation, offense, 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, replay the down.
This might actually be on Jake Browning. He's down here at the bottom of the screen, and he was talking with the side judge. I guess you're going to have to put someone on the ball up top.
Yeah.
And that's probably where the issue came. I'm not sure if Browning was trying to communicate that to the rest of his team, but he seemed upset as he was walking towards the play once the flag was thrown.
2nd down. Here comes Mickens. Nice stop and start and spin. Jadon Mickens, 1st down inside the 15. The senior on his senior day playing like it.
Well, what makes Jadon Mickens so special is what you said, his stop and start ability. He's one of the best in the Pac-12 by being able to stop, make a defender miss, and then accelerate and get right back up to top speed.
One of the most productive wideouts in Washington history out of Los Angeles.
And they move him around everywhere. He's on the outside at wide receiver, in the slot, in the backfield at running back at times. Very versatile.
Here he comes crossing the backfield. It was read beautifully. Taylor Taliulu jumped Mickens, who was swinging out the left side, and Destiny Vial combined with Peyton Pelluer for the sack.
Well, there it is again. Vial being able to read it, get pressure, and get to the quarterback. Nowhere for Jake Browning to go. They tried to set up a little quick wide receiver screen on the outside. But as you said, it was read perfectly by the Washington State defense. Again, this has been another one of the improvements of this Washington State defense. Their ability to be able to defend in the red zone.
On second down and long, they rush only 3, still able to get pressure. Browning spun down after a short gain by Vial. You marked him before this game even started as a key player, and he's played a great first half.
Well, the amazing thing is every single time you look at Vial on film, he's getting double teamed, and he's still making these plays. He was double teamed on that snap, stays with it, and is able to track down Browning.
3-year starter, leader up front. Out of American Samoa, one of 7 players on this Washington State roster. Into the red zone, 3rd down and 12. Flag down. That snap came late. Everybody else is moving.
False start. Offense number 58. 5-yard penalty. Makes 3rd down.
And when you get in these passing situations, it's extremely tough on the tackles in particular to be able to hang in there, because they know there's these speed rushers for Washington State coming off the edge. Palacio, McClennan, both these guys have a lot of speed, and McGarry knows he's got to be able to kick step and get back to protect his quarterback.
3rd down and 17. The twist picked up. They go underneath. Mickens gets the block. Jadon Mickens fighting his way close to the 1st down. Got about 14. 4th down and 2 or 3.
I want you to watch one guy, Jadon Mickens. The rest of these wide receivers up top, they're all blocking for him. This is essentially a screen. Look at them. They're blocking upfield, basically creating running lanes for Mickens once he gets across the field. That's the easiest read there is in the book. You got one man, one target. Get it to him, allow him to make plays for you in space.
Cameron Van Winkle, 24. Basically an extra point, knocks it through. And the lead is 1 touchdown for Washington. Trying to win the Apple Cup for the 6th time in the last 7 years, and trying for the 3rd straight time with a ranked Wazoo team to come away with a win. Fox College football presented by Kay Jewelers is sponsored by GameStop. Joy to the players. Beautiful scene on a beautiful day. That's Bellevue off in the distance, and I think if you look closely enough, you can see one of your favorite restaurants.
Lot 3. Gosh, is that place good. I make a stop there every time I come to Seattle. The place is amazing.
How good is this environment?
Oh, I mean, this might be one of the better games, or maybe the best game in the environment we've done all year. The Apple Cup.
Important again. It's been a while since both sides have had something real tangible to play for. It's obvious for a Washington State team having one of its best seasons in more than a decade. Washington with a young group trying to get those critical extra weeks of practice by becoming bowl eligible. Now there is a way they can make a bowl with just 5 wins. We'll get into that as the game goes on. Tavares Martin Jr. off a short kick from the 5. Nice job on special teams by Brian Clay. 5:44 left in this first half. Beautiful Seattle, Washington, the site for the Apple Cup, and Fox College football presented by Kay Jewelers rolls on after this. You know what time it is? It's Nissan Heisman Watch time.
And we've got quite the group of players. The running backs, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, 2 of the best in the country. I don't necessarily call Christian McCaffrey a running back because he does so much more than that. Return guy, catches balls out of the backfield, and Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson are the best quarterbacks in the country, leading their team to be within the top 4. And there's Luke Falk. You know, he was getting some consideration as well with the way he's led this Washington State team this year.
Peyton Bender's in for him, making his first career start, checking it down to Jamal Morrow. That was something that Falk had garnered a reputation for being so good at, taking what the defense gives him. Bender a little more of a gunslinger. He started 17 of 25. What have you thought?
He's been very poised so far. Obviously throwing some nice footballs, and he's not scared to throw it in the tight windows. I think most guys in their first collegiate start on the road might be a little bit hesitant, but he is not. He's been pulling the trigger on time.
On second down, gets to his second read, gets a first down with Robert Lewis. Kevin King with the tackle. As he continues to efficiently dump it off, and he's had really good time to throw much of the day.
Yeah, you got to credit the Washington State offensive line. They've really done the job so far today. We talked about them giving up 3 sacks a game. It's in part because, one, they throw the football so much, but two, they've had 8 different starters on this offensive line.
Marks can't get through. Great job by Jones to fight through the blocks. Time now for a Lowe's game break. Hello, Jenny Taft.
Hey, Joe, thanks. 4th-ranked Iowa visiting Nebraska, trying to keep their undefeated season alive, but a costly turnover for the Hawkeyes would cost them as the Cornhuskers take advantage. Amani Cross, 4-yard touchdown to tie this one up at 7 in the second quarter. Joe, Brady, back to you. Jenny, we're all bundled up here, and it's like, 40 degrees. The feels like temperature in Lincoln today is 4. Second down and 8. Bender again, all day to throw. Incomplete behind Thompson. Bieria was lurking with a diving attempt. 3rd and 8.
And credit number 99, Greg Gaines. He was able to get a hand in the face of Bender. Bender wasn't exactly able to move over and shuffle enough to find space to deliver an accurate throw. And if there's one thing that I think the Washington defense needs to do, is it's just that. Get Bender off his spot, force him to move his feet, reset and throw the football. See if he likes the one-on-one coverage up top with Gabe Marks.
They roll a safety late, but he still goes for him. What a job to recover and break it up by Sidney Jones. 4th down.
Well, he had to get the ball out of his hand quick, in part because of the pressure of the Washington defense. Keyshawn Bieria comes through untouched. Bender not able to get the football out quite enough in front of Gabe Marks to complete the pass, but credit this Huskies defense. Sidney Jones being able to get back into coverage and get a hand in on the football, really his helmet in that case, as Gabe Marks is slow to get up.
Number 1 receiver in the Pac-12 in receptions. 97 catches this season.
And it looks like Marks might have taken a shot, as I think Brian Clay was coming in on that. Tries to slow up. It's hard to exactly tell. He seems to be gimpy a bit coming off the field. And this would be a huge loss for an offense that can't afford to lose a guy like Gabe Marks. The leading wide receiver, the guy they go to in critical 3rd down situations, or even in the red zone to come away with touchdowns. One of the most reliable wide receivers on this Cougars team.
Come after this one, and Charmy gets rid of it. Good high punt to make sure that Pettis can't have a return. 37-yarder with good hang time. Washington's offense back to the field with a 7-point lead after this. Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers, is sponsored by Fallout 4, the next generation of open world gaming. Available now by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by Sprint. Switch today and save. You're seeing some images Wednesday night's luau that Psalm Wuching and Tawny Tupou helped throw for the Huskies. You know, back in Hawaii, where Psalm is from, his family actually runs a professional luau.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, that doesn't look fun, though. Gabe Marks in some pain, got helped off of the field on that last drive. As you look at your KFC stat comparison, they continue to look at that right leg of the #1 receiver in the Pac-12 when it comes to catches. Washington starting from the 30 with a 10-3 lead. Fake the Gaskin. Mickens again having a monster first half, close to a first down. They spot him just short. It'll be second less than 1.
The biggest question for me coming into this game would be, is Jake Browning able to piggyback off of a great performance last week where he completed 90% of his passes versus Oregon State, 4 touchdowns. It's a similar game versus Arizona earlier this year, but then struggled versus Utah. Today so far, it's been very efficient.
They split the speedster Marvin Hall out to the left and run it with Gaskin. First down. Shalom Luani with a tackle after 5. For the freshman who's moved over 1,000 yards for the season so far today.
The future is bright for Washington. These 2 true freshmen in the backfield. Jake Browning, one of the most prolific passers in high school football coming out of the state of California, really in the nation. Wasn't into the whole recruiting process and all the hype, though.
Gaskin bottled up this time, slips away from Allison on a gain of 3. Viau there as well. You're talking about Jake Browning in his high school days. He threw for more than 16,000 yards in his career at Folsom. 229 touchdowns, and Brady, that included his first career game, which was a 10-touchdown performance.
Must be running that Mike Leach offense there at his high school.
2nd and 7, bad snap. He's able to get it and get rid of it with a man free. Renfro for the end zone, spotted. Well, the officials haven't decided yet. Now they do. Stays down inside the 10. 42 yards for another true freshman.
Well, Washington State's going to try to bring a little bit of a game and some pressure up front. Browning fields the shotgun snap, which wasn't very good. And Renfro's able to find his way behind the Washington State defense. I think their eyes got caught in the backfield.
On 1st and goal, Avon Coleman stopped at the 5. Go back to that great catch from Renfro.
Look at the concentration. Renfro's eyes. True freshman able to see it into his hands. See Luani trying to chase him. Seemed like both Luani and Moulton, cornerback on the outside, were stuck watching Browning trying to actually field that snap and then start to evade the pocket.
Jonathan Smith, the coordinator for Washington, told us this week, well, those safeties are good, but they are aggressive. And they thought they could take some shots behind them.
I don't know if that's exactly what he meant, the way that play worked out.
Timeout, Washington.
Let's get their attention with a bad snap and fire it over the top.
30 seconds in duration.
Back in 30 seconds.
Coming up on the State Farm Halftime, we check in on the 119th Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State. Plus, #4 Iowa, they look to finish the regular season unbeaten. And we'll show you one of the best catches of the season in a Houston upset victory. Joe Brady, we'll see you guys at the break.
All right, Rob, this first half winding down, 1:33. And a 2nd and goal for Washington. Gaskin straight ahead. Not much room there. Guess who? Viau there with Barber. Ball came out after the whistle, and a flag flies. That is critical. Instead of 3rd and goal, it'll be 1st and goal. Is he claiming he couldn't hear the whistle? Some point to his ear.
After the play is over, personal foul. Late hit number 97 on the defense. Throwing a player unnecessarily to the ground. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Well, it's a rivalry game. There's a lot of heated emotions going on down in the field. And you better believe both of these teams are going to be a little bit chippy throughout the course of this game. Not just one display of it, but
Gaskin, just like that, makes them pay. Slammed down to the ground. then into the end zone for the Washington touchdown.
Well, the Washington offense hurried up to the line of scrimmage and tried to catch the Cougar defense by surprise. You can see them getting lined up very efficiently. And I don't think the Washington State defense had time to adjust to the formation. And Gaskin basically walks into the end zone.
17-3, Washington in front. Hate to beat a dead horse, but a true freshman throws the ball. A true freshman catches the ball, and Renfro, and then a true freshman caps it off. And Washington with a 2-touchdown lead in the closing moments of this first half. Well, plenty of time for Washington State and their prolific pass offense to get something going here with 1:21 and all 3 timeouts. Down 17-3. Vizcaino with a chip shot. Taken at the 22. And powering his way across the 30-yard line goes Chandler Laniu. There's something stinky, Brady, in the Master Chef Junior kitchen. And these budding young chefs turn the smelliest ingredients into a delicious dish. Not one that Brady will eat. Find out on Master Chef Junior, all new tonight at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
Yeah, I'm not going to put my dinner in the hands of an 8 or 10-year-old, however those young children are. I can't imagine they are quite fit to be able to cook a meal without overcooking something or undercooking something.
Right. I'm glad I'm not a judge on that show. Gabe Marks, good sign for Washington State. He had that right leg checked on. He's back out there. First down and 10 from the 38. Cougars could use a drive here. Bender dumps it off. Morrow. And Washington is flying around right now.
Well, this Husky defense really knows how to lay the wood at times. They're extremely aggressive, coming out of the secondary to get hits on running backs or wide receivers. Look how physical this is, man. This is the Apple Cup. Believe me, both teams know what they're playing for.
Victor finished him off there. Bender moved off his spot, zings it to Dom Williams for his first catch of the ball game.
You know, Washington State's come back 5 times this season to get wins, but we're going to have to find a way of doing that here on the road with Peyton Bender now at quarterback. He's been a part of a couple of those wins, but he wasn't able to play the whole game. He's got to continue to move in the pocket and make good throws like that to the outside.
21 of 31 in this first half for $172. Again, only 3 rush. A man leaks open underneath Robert Lewis. Stopped in bounds by Sidney Jones. And that will draw Washington State's first timeout. Washington State trying to string it together before the break. We're back at 30 seconds.
Watch Peyton Bender's eyes in this last play. He's able to read across the field. Washington's taken away his primary read, but he stays calm, works across, and finds the open wide receiver on the other side of the field. It's pretty impressive for a redshirt freshman.
He's making his first start. Bender over the middle. Has Morrow for a first down. That will stop the clock. Azim Victor with the tackle. 24 ticks and 2 timeouts. Don't bother using one here with the clock stopping on the first down. Bender wants Morrow again. Has him in the flats. Hurdling his way close to a first down. Up and over the top of Sidney Jones.
Morrow started last week versus Colorado. He's a combination of both running backs, Harrington and Wicks, and we see a little bit of that athleticism.
It's awesome.
Absolute hurdle.
12 seconds now. Still 2 timeouts. Whole field to work with because of it. Bender can't take a sack, but does, and it comes out. Jalen Johnson falls on it. And that puts an end to Washington State's attempt at points before the break.
Well, that's some of the pressure that the Washington Huskies defense is able to create. Joe Mathis keeps after it. No one's open downfield because of the coverage by the secondary. And there's the sack fumble. Johnson able to recover. You know, as I was watching that play, I kept thinking there's no one running towards the end zone. They weren't really trying to take a shot downfield, which is what I think you do with 12 seconds left, unless you're just playing for a field goal at that point.
Joe Mathis knocks it out of there. Jalen Johnson recovers it. And they'll take a knee to finish this opening half. Coming up is the State Farm halftime. Dogs with a 17-3 lead over their in-state rival Washington State here in the 108th meeting between these programs. We'll get it to Rob and the guys in the studio right now.
All right, Joe, thank you and welcome to the State Farm Fox College Football Halftime Show. No Luke Falk for Washington State. Peyton Bender given his first career start, and he is what we focus on with our State Farm Double Check highlights.
Yeah, he played pretty well. We just saw the fumble right there, but in total in the first half, he threw the ball well. He was accurate. They hit 10 different receivers, so he spread the ball around. And again, he was good protecting the football until that last play of the first half. And again, when you look at that football play, you're going in to score. You're in the red zone. A field goal is better than that. They didn't get the job done. Again, it's not all his fault. He's just going to have a little bit better awareness right there. Again, the first half, I thought he was good. I thought he was okay. They have to generate more points. They have to take shots down the football field and attack this Washington defense. We talked about going in, Coach, that it was going to be a tough task for him and the offense to score. Better production on third down. They got to help out their defense right now.
Yeah, you know, we talked also earlier about Chris Peterson, the head coach at Washington, that he has, you can see a blueprint for the way he wants his football team to operate offense, defense, special teams. Well, I think he couldn't be happier at this point. You know, they've had minimal penalties. They've had no turnovers, pretty balanced between run and pass in the first half. Their defense hasn't really given up any big plays. I mean, this is Washington football right now. Get used to it, because this is what we're going to see as time goes on, and they'll just keep adding better players and better players. They can win a lot of games.
Huskies a half away from getting that 6th victory this season, locking up a bowl berth spot. Coming up next, we stay in the Pac-12, focus on another in-state rivalry, the Civil War in Eugene today. The Ducks arriving in style as they take on the Beavers. Plus, can Iowa remain unbeaten? They're already off to the Big Ten championship game, but first, a tricky stop in Nebraska.
Back on Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers, and back in Seattle on a perfect day for football for the 108th meeting between these programs. It's the Apple Cup, and we welcome you back inside to get you geared up for the second half. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, we talked at length during that first half about what Washington does as far as the window dressing before the play. Give us some examples of what they do.
Well, the hardest thing for any defense facing Washington is dealing with not only the different formations, but the different personnel groupings. This particular look, we've got 3 wide receivers down to the bottom of the screen, along with a tight end as well. It's a 4 wide receiver set. 2-by-2 set now on the following play. Then we come back, we got 3 wide receivers at the top, and only 1 tight end down to the bottom of the screen. How are you going to get lined up to that? Now we've got 2 guys in the backfield as well, a little bit of a different set and wrinkle. Then we've got 2 tight ends, so an entirely different personnel grouping you got to deal with. What does that equate to? Well, big plays. It's hard to get lined up. It slows down your thinking. And then when you throw in a wrinkle, like a reverse, it allows you to be in the position to then block the defense and let your playmakers get to the outside for the big plays.
Chico McClatcher with the game's first touchdown. Came from 26 yards. Well, Washington State moved the ball with relative ease on the first possession of the game. It was looking like, man, we could have a shootout here, but instead it's 17-3 Washington, and the Dogs will get it to begin the second half. They send Deontay Cooper back for this one. Off of the foot of Brashears. And McClatcher. Back to the 22. We go down to Chris Budden.
Well, I got to talk to both coaches. We'll start first with Washington State. Mike Leach telling me he likes what he sees from Peyton Bender right now, the way that he's managing the game. But as you guys said, they move the ball. They just can't finish drives. He said that will be the focus in the second half. In talking with Coach Peterson, he said they like the way that they've been able to get pressure on Bender, and that's been the difference. If they give him too much time, he's able to make some plays. So they can continue to pressure him in this second half. He likes the way his team's been playing.
One of the biggest differences for Washington State this year with their success, turnover margin. Last year, -17. So far this year, +3, but -2 today.
Miles Gaskin takes it on first down. Taliulu with a tackle. After 6 yards, your first half stats pretty even in the total yards, but those 2 turnovers, big deal.
Yeah, and that's really the difference so far in this game. Washington able to convert on one of those turnovers and then really prevent Washington State from a chance at a field goal possibly at the end of this first half.
Give Gaskin 6 on that first carry of the second half. 35 total for him now. Back-to-back touches to begin this half. This one shut down by Allison. Senior from Los Angeles, Dorsey High School. Third down.
Well, the defensive front for Washington State allows the linebackers to be very aggressive, attack the line of scrimmage with their run sets, and again, hold opponents from being able to get downfield that second level. They're one of the best teams at stopping running backs in the backfield before they can get started.
Big play early on in this second half for the Washington State defense. And movement up front. This will be a false start and a little more difficult third down.
False start. Offense. Number 55. 5-yard penalty. Mains third down.
You know, Joe, this is something Washington State does up front. Watch the defensive line move into a bear front, and it kind of startles offensive linemen. It's drawn off penalties versus a lot of teams this season.
UCLA in particular complained at length about that. Browning steps into a throw for Pettis, who juggles and catches. First down. Flag came in, likely on Washington State. Some pushing after the play.
Well, Charleston White was all over Pettis. Nice catch versus contested coverage. See them in a stacked alignment. Another variation by the offensive corner, Jonathan Smith. Look at White. He's got that hand on Pettis' back hip as he goes to break inside.
Pass interference, defense number 4. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
So they convert third down and 7 on this first drive of the second half. Once again, they go to Pettis on third down.
It's so clutch for them throughout this season, really providing a spark. Cousin of Austin Pettis, former great
correction, the penalty is declined.
Excuse me, a former great wide receiver for Boise State with Chris Peterson. Clearly, he's got something going on with the Pettis family in recruiting.
Browning steps into a collapsing pocket, turns the corner, runs out of bounds near the 45. You asked right off at the top, Brady, can he put back-to-back good games together? Look at the numbers over the last 6 quarters.
Yeah, he's really continued to improve in his true freshman season. Saw right there an example of making something out of nothing. Tried to set up a little shallow cross pattern for Jadon Mickens to come across. Wasn't open. Browning found space and made a positive play.
Washington trying to get that 6th win, guaranteed bowl eligibility. Browning again finds an opening and shovels it downfield, incomplete. Saw Daniels running by Luani. Instead of running the 1.5 yard for first down, try to make something happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. Browning, usually when he scrambles, he'll attack upfield, but then he stays parallel to the line of scrimmage so he can still be a thrower. You would have liked him to see and realize that he was that close to the first down marker and just scrambled forward for the first down. Again, those are the sorts of things that'll come the more reps he gets and the more he plays at the collegiate level.
Already converted 1 third down on this drive. On 3rd and 2, option play, gets rid of it. That is not textbook when it gets the job done.
Look, it was a nice job of kind of ad-libbing and finding a way to pitch it out to Myles Gaskin. I mean, this play's designed to get it to Gaskin on the outside. Pelor did a nice job of taking it away, so he couldn't do anything else by trying to popping it over top of him. It's not easy, too, considering Gaskin's only 5'9".
Motion Browning out, run the Wildcat. Here comes McClatcher, gets a block, has speed, another block, tripped up by Pelor to save a touchdown, but it's 18 yards and a Washington first down.
And this is all the blocking on the outside. Watch Braden Linnaeus, number 81. Joshua Perkins, number 82. They set it up downfield. We see Deontay Cooper as well getting into the mix. If not for Pelor with a shoestring tackle, McClatcher's to the house again.
It's 2 carries for 43 yards on the day for McClatcher. Another true freshman from the 33. Gaskin nowhere to go. McLennan there with Vial. 2nd down and 10. Offensive leaders in that first half for Washington. Another efficient performance from Jake Browning, who's now 10 for 13. Gaskin 40 yards on the ground so far. And through the air, it was the senior J-Don Mickens, 81 yards leading the way in the first half.
Again, a pretty impressive performance so far by some of the playmakers for Washington.
2nd down. Browning moved off his spot, directing traffic to Mickens, who couldn't get a foot down, and a good job by Charleston White to stick with him, making it 3rd and 11.
Charleston White, one of the other cornerbacks that kind of mixes in the Washington State secondary. A bigger guy standing at 6 foot 185, but does a very good job staying in phase, meaning staying with the wide receiver regardless of where he runs downfield. Mickens was trying to work open on a scramble drill on the sideline, nowhere to go. White was there with him the entire way. Now it's 3rd and long, and we'll see if Grinch decides to dial up some pressure.
Third down of this drive. Can Wazoo get off of the field? Oh my goodness, Washington catches a break as a flag flies on the 3rd bad snap we've seen today.
False start, number 65 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, makes 3rd down.
Tufunga, the center.
Usually pretty difficult to do. You're the one controlling the snap.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty rare that you ever see center actually false start. Usually it's a snap infraction.
Kind of moved his body, held the ball on the ground still, and then snapped it. Explains why it was off. 3rd and a mile. Browning scrambling, trying to find somebody open and getting sacked. Hercules Mata'afa knocks him right out of field goal range, and it's 4th down.
You're going to see big number 50 be able to find his way as he's spying Jake Browning. Once he leaves the pocket, he closes ground. And Mata'afa is able to find a way of getting the big stop for the Washington State defense.
Redshirt freshman from Hawaii. What a name, huh? Hercules Mata'afa. Let your wife Alicia know. I think I got the name of your firstborn son. Hercules Quinn. I like it. Marks, fair catch. Big time stop from this Washington State defense, which bends but doesn't break on the first drive of the second half. Peyton Bender's been efficient. Not much to show for. The nation's #1 passing offense tries to bring the Cougs back. Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers, is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. In college football, it's a one-of-a-kind tradition. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Chris Button back in Seattle. And Peyton Bender back to the field, get loose for this second half. Always throwing, it seems like.
Yeah, every quarterback likes to stay in a rhythm, but in particular when you throw the ball so often, you want to keep your body warm, but it keeps you distracted from thinking about anything else besides the game.
His first career start, if you're just joining us, he's gone 24 of 34 for 192. They've put together some drives, but only 1 field goal to show for it. First carry of the second half goes to Jamal Morrow, and he runs hard for 5. So, you talk about them moving the ball, but only 3 points. What's got to change for them to finish drives off differently?
Well, they've got to have better production in the red zone once they get in plus territory, in particular on third down. That's what's plagued them so far. It plagued them a year ago in the Apple Cup. Only 1 on 10 on third down for Washington State.
Dangerous throw is nearly intercepted as Sidney Jones read it like a book on a throw for John Thompson.
Sidney Jones has his hips open. He's looking at Bender's eyes the entire way. That's why he's able to get such a good break on the football and almost the interception.
Number 1 defense in the Pac-12. 6 pass breakups today, 3rd and 4. Play clock winding down. 3-man rush, so time and a wide open Lewis. First down to midfield. Broken coverage and a pickup of 30.
Well, Peyton Bender's going to look all the way across the field. What happens is the Washington defense moves with his eyes. And you can see they're able to slip a guy downfield. Robert Lewis is able to find the open space in the seam as everyone is adjusting to Bender's eyes.
Team high 6th catch of the game for Lewis. Quickly outside, Kyron Priester. The Clemson transfer shows good explosion. 12 yards and another Washington State first down.
Talked about him transferring from Clemson. Priester's one of the tougher guys to be able to tackle once he gets going. That's why they try to throw him some of those wide receiver seams to the outside.
Bender had it tipped at the line of scrimmage and incomplete. 2nd down and 10. That was Tupou that got his hand on it. Team captain.
And this is the area of the field where Washington State has to have better production on 1st down and 2nd down. They can't keep putting themselves in 3rd and long and expect to be able to convert. Or they need to start going for more of those 4th downs like they've been accustomed to doing in previous weeks.
Yeah, they've not gone for a 4th down yet today. Bender, oh no, picked off, look out. Sidney Jones got this one. Sidney Jones has 6. Touchdown, Washington.
Well, Peyton Bender's got an ultimately quick release. But he's going to wish it was a little bit slower and he could have pulled that one back. I think he just started his throwing motion, started his throw before he actually saw Sidney Jones.
Flag down at the end of the play.
It's got to be a sideline infraction for the way Washington's bench erupted in celebration.
It is what it will be. 4th interception of the season for Sidney Jones. He's forced 3 fumbles. He's recovered 2 fumbles. He's been all over today. Here with a 70-yard pick 6.
The touchdown is good. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on Washington's bench for sideline interference. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff.
Yeah, and celebrating the interception for a touchdown. There's about 20 guys on the field from Washington. But clearly you could see from the replay, Bender just kind of got over there in a position to throw and wanted to take a chance in a tight window. And unfortunately, from the far hash, that's an incredibly long throw and extremely difficult to make.
Extra point from Van Winkle. 24-3 Washington. Watch him lock in here with his eyes.
He did it once before earlier, almost had an interception. This time, hits home and able to take it back for the touchdown. Huskies with a commanding lead.
Fox College Football is presented by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay. Back in Seattle. Washington starting to open it up some. 24-3. You said, though, during the break that because of this Washington State offense, always prolific, and they've moved the ball today, it doesn't quite feel out of hand yet.
Well, because all 3 turnovers have been in Husky territory. It seems like once they get past the 50, they just all of a sudden start to stall. Kind of the youth of Peyton Bender starts to be seen a little bit. Held on the ball too long on the 1 sack fumble. And we see clearly an interception thrown into tight coverage. Nothing really there.
Because of the sideline penalty, this kick comes from the 20 and a chance for the Cougars to have really good field position. Priester across the 30. Flag comes in at the end of the play. Flag flew in from head referee Michael Batlin. See if they have even better field position or if that whole idea is wiped away.
During the return, holding number 48 on the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go to Jenny Taft for a game break.
Joe, thanks. Over on FS1, Oregon hasn't lost the Civil War against Oregon State since 2007. They're off to a good start as Vernon Adams Jr. finds DeBraylon Addison. 37 yards for the score. The Ducks lead 31-7 at the half. Joe, Brady, back to you.
Oregon might be playing as the best team in the Pac-12 right now with Vernon Adams healthy. Freeman in the running game, and they look extremely tough. That win that Michigan State had over them makes them look even better.
Yeah. Bender lost it. Washington has it. All falling apart in the Cougars right now. Corey Littleton knocked it out of there.
This is the type of game guys like Corey Littleton, Travis Feeney get up for and excited about because they know that they're essentially playing a one-dimensional team in the Washington State Cougars. They pass the ball the majority of downs, and that allows them to get a jump on the snap. It's exactly what you saw as Corey Littleton utilizing his speed to be able to get to Bender and get the sack fumble.
Brian Clay comes up with a recovery. Second season in a row, Washington State has turned it over 4 times in the Apple Cup game.
Talked about that turnover margin coming into this game being one of the differences really for Washington State and their success this season. Last year, -17 at this time. This year, +3, but today, -4 if this indeed stands.
Let's bring in our buddy Mike Pereira as they're taking a look at this. Happy Thanksgiving, Mike. What'd you see?
I see an exciting Apple Cup. You guys are enjoying yourself there, and to me this would stay a fumble. Watch the hand actually stop and begin to go down when the ball comes out. It's the old tuck rule that the NFL did have. Used to be an incomplete pass in the NFL, but here I think we're looking still at a fumble as ruled on the field.
Seems pretty clear from everything we see, Mike. I mean, I don't imagine they would be overturning this and creating a huge momentum swing again in this game as Washington State, a prolific passing offense. Plenty of time in this game to try to get back, but offensive line starting to kind of give way a little bit, which we talked about. They've seen they give about 3 sacks a game. It's hard, though, when you're pass setting every single down.
Are they really?
So here is the verdict from replay official Bill Richardson.
After review, the quarterback's hand was coming forward with control of the ball. It'll be second down at the 20-yard line.
Mike, what do you think?
Well, I certainly don't agree with that. I mean, because you look at it and say, has he stopped? Has the hand is it going down toward the ground now? You know, to me, I look in the fact that this was called a fumble. As I've heard my good friend Jim Blackwood say, stands as your friends. To me, this is clearly one that should not be overturned.
Tend to agree with him.
It looked like he was using the ball to swim over that defender and bring it back into his body.
I mean, this is just a huge play in this game. Can Washington State take advantage? Bender wants one-on-one, heaving it. Jones in coverage. Marks caught it, but out of bounds. Great one-on-one battle down the sideline. 3rd and 10.
You can't teach any better technique than this. Look at Sidney Jones. He's right there in front of Marks, looking back for the football. There's a lot of contact, but when Jones is trying to make a play on the football just like Marks, they're not going to call this pass interference.
And toe to heel has to come down inbounds for that to be a catch, so that is incomplete.
Well, Bender coming right back, though, and taking a shot downfield.
3rd and 10, trying to take advantage of the overturn call. Bender, incomplete, dropped by Lewis.
These cornerbacks for Washington are really doing a good job of sinking back into their zone coverage with their eyes on Bender, and they're just waiting for him to throw him another interception. Darren Gardenhire is going to be sitting outside waiting for the ball to essentially come to him. Washington State's utilized that route a number of times today, but they're starting to cut it close.
Pettis back to return the Charmy punt. Shanked it. About a 24-yard punt.
When it rains, it pours, even on a sunny day here in Seattle.
Apple Cup has been dominated by Washington historically, and they've won 5 of the last 6. They've got a commanding lead in the 108th meeting. Our guy Joel Klatt picks his top 50 draft prospects in the Fox 50 on foxsports.com/Fox50. Notre Dame Stanford tomorrow. 5 players from Notre Dame on that Fox 50.
Yeah, Kavari Russell, though, the cornerback, he will not be playing versus Stanford, but very, very bright future for all 5 of these young men. Some offensive line, linebacker, Jalen Smith. That'll be a great matchup versus Christian McCaffrey tomorrow night.
Sprint.com/save50% to learn more. Browning goes underneath. Darrell Daniels cutting it against the grain. 1st down to the 31. Tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, Notre Dame and Stanford. Biggest game of the weekend.
Yeah, Notre Dame needs that win if they want to stay in contention for the college football playoff. I think in order for Stanford, if they win, to come away with an opportunity for the playoff, they've got to have some other things happen in the other Power 5 conferences.
Madness, essentially. Gaskin. Good patience. 2nd and 4.
He's got such good vision. Gaskin has the speed and the ability to really start, stop, and get going, but his patience combined with his vision is what allows him to be able to find holes and to get through the line of scrimmage, being untouched sometimes. Sometimes I always wonder if those linebackers can actually see him half the time because of his short size.
And the Wildcat this time faked to McClatcher out the back door. No gain. Shalom Luani, JUCO All-American, 1st-year transfer, makes the tackle. 3rd down.
You see some of that aggressiveness, too, by Luani to come up, make a tackle around the line of scrimmage. Look at Myles Gaskin. Rushing yards a game this season for true freshman. He's been outstanding. He's really provided a lot of consistency where Chris Peterson said he hasn't hit that freshman year wall with all the playing time he's had.
Fake to McClatcher. Browning under pressure. Gets away from one. Intercepted. Marcellus Pippins provides the play that Washington State desperately needed. Inside the 15. Just when it seemed like the door was about to be closed on the Cougars, Pippins kicks it open.
And just an unbelievable job by Pippins of hanging with the play, hanging with the route. He's outside in zone coverage. He's watching Browning's eyes as he scrambles. He sees it coming all the way. Mickens tries to come and make a play on the football, but Pippin's able to beat him to it as he races downfield.
Then runs into his own man, Iguala. Look out, big guy.
Well, now this really falls on the Washington State offense. Can they finally convert? Can they find a way of getting some production in this part of the field? where they've turned over the football a number of times.
4 turnovers total today, one of them taken away by a review. Official number is 3. Bender on the slant, Dom Williams to the 10, stopped by Gardenhire, 2nd and 1.
You see Travis Feeney down in the field, and he's been battling some shoulder injuries, and it clearly looks like he's in pain at the moment.
Off in the distance there he is. Hard to tell exactly what they're examining. He's questionable coming into this game with his shoulder injury. These kinds of injuries have bothered him his whole career. Back in a moment.
Let's take a look at Travis Feeney on this last play where it appears as if he was injured. They're on a TE stunt. Tackle goes first, end comes back inside, and at some point there you can see he injured that right shoulder. He's been dealing with it all year long. Incredibly disappointing being senior day and what he brings to this Washington defense.
4 shoulder surgeries in his career. High snap pulled down. Good cut in the hole from Wicks, who looks like falls forward with it off, though he's spotted about half yard short of where he got to. Yellow line is not official, but if it is accurate, then he'd be a few inches short. Looks like they're going to measure.
This Washington State offense typically likes to take shots to the outside of Dom Williams and Gabe Marks, sometimes on fade routes and the sorts, but being down by so much, the Washington Huskies defense isn't allowing them those opportunities.
Great shot from our sky cam, shows us about 6 inches short. This is actually the first time they've moved into the technical red zone today, inside the 20. They've scored points on 36 consecutive trips inside the 20.
Yeah, they're incredibly efficient in the red zone, not only at taking care of the football, but including a high level of passes and finding some opportunities as well for the wide receivers to go make plays in the football. Look at a guy like Dom Williams, big number 80, 6'2", every bit of that. The 5th-year senior can really go up and high point the football.
Normally this is a spot where you say, oh, quarterback sneak, and then you get a new set of downs, but they don't go under center. Williams, quarterback sneak air raid style. Catch and throw, 1st and goal.
It's a lot of work to get a few inches for the 1st down. This is the Washington State air raid offense. Trying to set up an outside wide receiver screen for Dom Williams, who has the size and the power to be able to push forward for an easy 1st down.
As good as Washington State has been offensively in the red zone, Washington incredible defensively in this stage. 1st down and goal. Wicks swinging out. Great closing speed from King. 2nd down.
Well, the Washington defense is playing a very soft zone coverage, and they're basically waiting on Peyton Bender to get the ball out of his hand quick. They know that they've got the pass rush up front to be able to get pressure, and they know the young man is going to kind of stare down some of his targets throughout his reads. That's why they've been so successful in this area of the field, being able to get stops in such a short field, short space.
Does Mike Leach dare go to the ground here with a light box? He does. Wicks cuts it back, and it's 3rd and goal. Bierria with a stop.
There's no doubt in my mind that this is 4-down territory for Mike Leach. So if they're unsuccessful with this try, which should be interesting, I figure maybe you give Wicks another try, and maybe you take advantage of one-on-one coverage on the outside. Look at all the space over here.
Bender, end zone, touchdown. Williams came free. His 30th career score. And Washington State takes advantage of the interception.
Well, we talked about this soft zone coverage that Washington's playing. Watch Dom Williams up top, and I think it's John Thompson up here. If you could freeze it right here. Both guys open in space. It's just a matter of Peyton Bender having enough time to be able to find the open window and find the open wide receiver. Credit the offensive line of being able to do that in that last play.
Left-footed extra point is good. Dom Williams with that score is now 2 touchdowns away from matching the career score record. Jason Hill had 32 during his Cougar career. This 108th meeting of Washington and Washington State far from over. Bender finally gets him into the end zone.
This love is a blaze.
Fox College football is presented by Kay Jewelers, and Dom Williams, who has played this season with a heavy heart after his grandmother passed away. His grandmother raised him in California in early October. Following week, he had the game-winning touchdown in overtime against Oregon, and has battled through what has been a tough season for him, but a good season for him on the field with 11 touchdowns. Chico McClatcher back to return this kick from Brashears. It's a short one. It bounces. He touched it, so it won't be a flag. He was kind of in between. Is it going to go out of bounds? Is it going to bounce by me? And a mistake for the freshman. Time for a game break. Hello, Jenny Taft.
Hey, Joe, how about an update from number 4 Iowa and Nebraska? This following a Huskers TD. To make it a 4-point game, the Hawkeyes respond in a big way as Jordan Canzeri gets the touchdown, 67 yards. That's his second TD of the game, and Iowa back on top big, 28-17.
Nebraska already beat Michigan State early this year, trying to knock off undefeated Iowa.
Browning after the interception, back to work with a completion to Darrell Daniels. Co-coordinator Jonathan Smith told us Daniels really playing with good effort lately. We've seen him do a nice job after the catch a couple times today.
Yeah, and really the tight ends in this Washington offense are kind of the safety valves. The young quarterback and Jake Browning. Big targets, 6'4", 240 for Daniels, 6'4", 226 for Perkins. Soft hands and pretty athletic. They do a good job of really finding the open space in some of the zone coverages.
Staff told us you got to be a smart kid to play tight end in this offense with all they do. Second and short, Gaskin, gaping hole. First down across the 40. Washington State ripping at that ball but can't get it on a 20-yard pickup.
You talked about these smart tight ends. These smart tight ends are going to help pave a running lane for Myles Gaskin. That was in part because of the fact that they shifted over and they changed the strength of the offense by moving both tight ends from the right to the left. The Washington State defense wasn't able to adjust, and therein lies the problem with dealing with this Washington offense. Offensive coordinator Jonathan Smith does a tremendous job of game planning on a week-to-week basis.
Short side of the field to Renfro for 7 or 8 against Darian Moulton. Freshman against freshman. Second down and 2.
And Moulton's one of the bright spots in this Washington State secondary. Pretty good job of staying in coverage. Very competitive and many of the balls that are thrown his way. A true freshman out of Temecula, California.
Gaskin with a first down. Said it earlier, he's been a nice surprise. They knew he was a good player, local product, Linwood, Washington, about 15 miles north of here, but the way he's performed has been brilliant for him. Marvin Hall bounces off Luani and gets close to a first down on only his 5th catch of the season.
But Hall's a speedster. He's got that track type of speed. 2 weeks ago, caught a bomb on a post route for a touchdown, and was also the guy starting last week's game versus Oregon State, where he lateraled it all the way across the field to Chico McClatcher on the opening kickoff return.
He's also got a touchdown pass this year. Second and short. Gaskin. A yard short. Tackled by Parker Henry, 3rd and 1. Hurry to the line of scrimmage on 3rd and short. Feed it right back to him to get a first down.
You know, sometimes teams like to play with a very fast tempo all the time. Well, Washington will jump in and out of getting lined up at the scrimmage fast and getting a snap or a playoff fast. And I actually think that's a better way of doing it, because then it catches the defense by surprise, depending on what drive you're on. But right now, you're saying the Washington offensive line absolutely dominate the line of scrimmage on this drive.
Continue to bludgeon away with that O-line, and Gaskin stays on his feet for 8 yards. One of the youngest O-lines they've had here in a while, really drilling away right now.
Such a big hit on the last play. I think it knocked some paint off of Gaskin's helmet.
Left side, Gaskin to the 10. Riding Myles Gaskin right down the field inside of a minute in this third quarter.
Look at that paint missing on the top of his helmet.
You're right.
Rivalry game like this, these guys are banging down there.
It's offense in rhythm. Deontay Cooper in the game. Cooper's got it. Stopped by Dotson. Second down and goal. That clock continues to wind. Crowd chants Coop. One of their favorites, a guy that missed his first 3 seasons here with separate ACL injuries, 2010, 2011, 2012, a torn ACL, 3 consecutive years. He's fought through it. Carry to the 5. To wind this third quarter down.
Yeah, he was on the team back in 2010 when the Washington legend who's here today, Jake Locker, who we'll see probably in a little bit, was the only player he's on the team with. It's incredible to think that.
To Paris, California. See, 2010, Jake Browning would have been 8th grade, junior high kid.
Yeah,
Cooper started his career here at UW. We'll be right back after a word from our local sponsors for the fourth quarter of the Apple Cup. You mentioned Jake Locker before we went to break. 2010 Apple Cup, 44 seconds left. Found Jermaine Kearse for the game winner. 35-28 the final score. And a moment ago, they honored Locker as today's Husky legend.
That's his son Cooper he's holding there. His wife Lauren, his daughter Colby. Jake Locker, first round pick to the Tennessee Titans. Talked about Jermaine Kearse. He actually was able to stay in town here, playing for the Seattle Seahawks. Had a couple big grabs in their Super Bowl win a couple years ago.
UW has gone behind Gaskin on this drive, and they give it to him again. Gaskin in. Touchdown, Washington. Oh, Myles Gaskin on this response of a drive.
What a response, what an answer by the Washington Huskies offense. A little misdirection with the fake jet sweep, and Myles Gaskin just so sneaky. Look at him find his way through the defense and into the end zone.
Seven carries for 55 yards on that drive alone. Over the goal line, over 100 yards for the day. And the lead is back to 3 touchdowns for Washington. Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers, is sponsored by Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, calories, and superior taste make it the superior light beer. And by Sprint, switch today and save. All Huskies, 31-10, just when Washington State had gotten back to within 2 touchdowns. Statement drive behind Myles Gaskin, who carried it 7 times for 55 yards and a touchdown in that possession. Aaron Priester back to return Tristan Vizcaino's kick. Kept it short and away from Priester much of the day. Booms this one. Back to the 19-yard line. Let's go down to Chris Budden.
Joe, Chris Peterson's longtime mentor, Jim Soker, passed away earlier this week. Soker transformed UC Davis into a Division II powerhouse. And when you talk to Peterson, he says he would not have gotten into coaching if it weren't for him. He was a quarterback with him in the mid-1980s and then became a grad assistant under him. And at that point was thinking about going into other avenues until Soker convinced him to become a coach, and that's where he is today. Soker was 77 when he passed away.
Coach Peterson was going to be a psychologist. That was the initial plan.
18 consecutive conference championships for Coach Soker.
This drive begins with a first down completion to Dom Williams.
Absolutely incredible during his time with UC Davis as part of the Far Western or the NCAC conferences. 18 consecutive conference championships. Inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame in 1999.
We talked to Coach Peterson before the game today, and he said a lot of what they do here at Washington is from Coach Soker. Williams again, short gain this time. Aaron Gardenhire with the tackle. Washington State not out of it yet. Down 3 scores early on in the fourth quarter. Oh. Psalm Wuching all over Wicks. 3rd and 5, and a flag comes after the play. Wuching going to get called. The unsportsmanlike conduct.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 28, a visual taunt, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, this is a throat slash, and we do not allow this in college football. It's considered taunting, and rightfully so. Good play by Wuching, unfortunately. Bad follow-up with the celebration. Sometimes you let your emotions get the best of you when you're playing in a rivalry game, and it seems somewhat one-sided right now with Washington up 31-10.
It's a Hawaiian fire dancer back at his family's luau's. I think that move passes there, but here it draws flag.
Peterson letting him hear it, too, on the sideline.
So from midfield, Bender steps up over the middle, has Morrow, who steps out of a tackle and gets a nice first down gain.
The Washington defense really making Washington State go the long, hard way to get a score. Just no one open downfield, only rushing 3 guys after the passer and dropping 8 into coverage. Bender's surveying the field and just can't find anyone.
2nd and 2. Marks can't hold on.
One of the reasons why the Washington Huskies defense has been so successful this season in the Pac-12 is they've limited the amount of big plays, and the reasoning for that is they're tackling. They're one of the better teams tackling in space in the country. Credit the coaching staff, Chris Peterson, and defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski.
3rd and 2 for Washington State. All 11 men stand. They bring 3. Bender throws incomplete. Martin Jr., the intended receiver. Azim Victor in coverage, and we will see a 4th down attempt here. Converted 25 3rd downs this season to lead the country.
Bender's got to realize, too, that if he sees some daylight, he's only got to get a couple yards, but to find a way to rush for the first down if he sees an opening.
Tight coverage across the board. And a whistle and a flag.
False start. Ooh. 25 offense. 5-yard penalty. Maine's 4th down.
And that's something that should never happen. Watch Jamal Moreau just flinches just enough. No reason to.
4th down and 7 after the penalty. Bender, incomplete. They brought 4 and collapsed the pocket. Coverage downfield kept them from finding a window, and a turnover on downs.
It was in part because of the pressure provided by the Washington Huskies defensive line. Look at that little game up the middle, confusing the offensive lineman, nowhere to go with the football and affecting the pass. We'll be back in a minute.
Fox College football is presented by Kay Jewelers, and they're playing the classic hit, talking out the side of your neck. Here in Seattle, 31-10 Washington. 1 win away from becoming bowl eligible. Trying to grind some clock now. There's Gaskin with a gain of 1. We mentioned earlier that there was a chance that they would become bowl eligible even with a loss today, and it has to do with how many bowls there are. There's 40 bowls. You need 80 teams. There aren't that many bowl eligible teams yet.
There's only 71 right now that are bowl eligible, so they've got to find a way of filling those 9 spots, and they've got a way of doing it even if they don't have enough teams who get to that 6-win benchmark.
Gaskin got free. Palacio goes for a ride and a gain of 21 yards. First down.
We talked about the aggressiveness of the safeties for Washington State. Watch Luani. He's going to have an opportunity to make the play. Missed tackle. Ends up being Palacio, who's finally able to drag Gaskin down. His legs still churning.
122 for Gaskin now. Only at 29 in the first half. It's him again. Great vision again. So strong.
The future for the Washington Huskies offense is very bright. You know, this season may have seemed a little bit disappointing in some ways, but they've got a ton of young talent. We're seeing it emerge. Whether it's Myles Gaskin, running back, obviously Jake Browning we've talked about a lot, but even at tackle, Trey Adams has done a good job of filling in at times, although he's not in at the moment. Chico McClatcher, Isaiah Renfro, all these guys, true freshmen, who have an impact on this offense.
Heavy load for Gaskin. Stopped the yard short. It's not just Washington. I mean, across the conference, talented freshman class this year.
Very talented. Look at Josh Rosen, another prolific passer in the Pac-12 this year. They're taking on USC. The chance to play for the Pac-12 championship. Ronald Jones will be the opposition in the backfield for USC, but Cameron Smith actually will not be playing. He's injured and will be out the remainder of the season. Pac-12's in good hands as we see Jake Browning split out wide at wide receiver.
Direct snap to Gaskin. First down. Right in the block of Jake Eldrenkamp. Never did go down.
He's so low to the ground. He has just tremendous balance because he has that lower center of gravity. He's got the vision to set up off blocks, little jump cut, and look at that. His legs are still churning.
Just carried it on all 5 plays on this drive. D coordinator for Washington State, Alex Grinch, told us you notice him more and more as the year goes on, as you watch the games in succession. No gain here. It was John Pease, Utah's D coordinator, told us some of the things he does reminded him of a guy you might have heard of, Barry Sanders. He's an injured player for Washington. He's broken the freshman record at Washington with those 1,118 yards. But an O-lineman down for Washington is Coleman Shelton. And we will take a quick break. Fox College football is presented by Kay Jewelers. Tough day for Cougars fans. Tough day yesterday for him. down at 10. They bring Levon Coleman into the game at running back after Gaskin carried it on 6 straight plays, and they trust the freshman enough to throw for Pettis. Dropped it. Broken up by Charleston White. 3rd down.
Well, the Huskies were almost lulling us to sleep by running the football. Watch the double move by Deontay Pettis off the ball. He's going to run up, come in. Oh, nope. Going right back outside to the pylon. Great ball by Browning. Pettis has made some tough catches throughout the course of this game. He's going to be disappointed himself not bringing that in.
3rd down, 11 now. Not entirely comfortable field goal range yet. Coleman. The 15. Peyton Pallure with the tackle. And here comes the field goal team. It would still be a 3-score game if you factor in the 2-point conversions potentially for Washington State, but running out of time inside a 9.5. And Winkle on to attempt it out of the Lindquist hole. Good from 24 earlier, this from 33. And he hooked it. Rare miss from the junior out of Falls City, Washington. Remains a 31-10 game. The emotions of the 108th meeting between Washington and Washington State. What a day it's been for the Apple Cup. Fox College Football, presented by Kay Jewelers, is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Fox Sports proudly supports Folds of Honor and its mission of providing educational scholarships to families of military members who have been killed or disabled while serving our country. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com.
Closing moments of daylight in Seattle. Bender starts his drive with a throw to Gabe Marks. Sidney Jones slowed him up, so King and Bieria, or Clay and Bieria, could rally to punish him on a gain of 3.
This Huskies defense just flies around. Quick wide receiver screen to the outside. Look at Jones, force him back inside. And Bieria and Clay, the punishing hit to finish him off.
They are not going to lose much from this group next year. You lose Feeney, you lose Littleton. Clay's the only guy in the secondary that you lose. Lose to Poe up front, bringing back quite a bit. Bender, incomplete.
You know, we saw earlier in the game Washington State having some success working the ball in around the middle of the field. It seems like ever since kind of the second half of the second quarter, they've been taking a lot of shots to the outside, trying to force the ball to the sideline. I'd like to see them try to come back around the middle of the field again. They had some success hitting John Thompson and some other wide receivers in the middle of the field, and they've gone away from it.
Chance for it with the 2 high safeties. Bender had it knocked out. Washington's on it. 4th turnover of the day forced by the UW-D. Bowman recovered it.
And I think it was actually number 98, Will Dissly, who was able to knock it out of Bender's hand. Talked about Washington State being primarily one-dimensional. Watch Dissly come around the edge. Gets that right hand right on the right wrist of Bender. You can't do it any better than that. You know, they coach this in individual drills. If you don't have that accurate touch with Dissly's hand. And if there was any life left in this Washington State team, that would have taken it all away.
What a day for the #1 defense in the Pac-12. 4 takeaways. This one puts him right on the doorstep again. Gaskin is back in, more than 100 yards in this second half alone. Ran right into Destiny Vial.
No surprise there. Vial once again in the backfield. Talked about his ability to be able to get off the ball at the snap. Seems to always be able to cut through the line of scrimmage and stop a play before it even starts.
10 tackles today. Playing his final Apple Cup. On second down. Gaskin got away somehow. Wrestled down after a gain of 3 by Allison.
It's just the lateral movement that makes Gaskin so special. Watch him run to the outside. He's going to start going north and south and stops, cuts back. Watch the jump cut there. He's so incredibly difficult to be able to get a clean shot on.
And they go into the Wildcat with a speedster Marvin Hall and a trick play. McClatcher gets shut down. Mata Afa was there along with Parker Henry.
Some of the trickeration that head coach Chris Peterson's known for. Washington State staying at home, clearly ready.
First touchdown of the day for Washington came on a reverse to McClatcher. Not much there. 4th down, field goal team out. So we wind inside a 6.5. Vizcaino just missed a short one on the last drive. This one will be straight on from 36. Missed again. Must have had too much turkey yesterday.
I know you had too much.
I know you did too.
Yeah.
Got to though. The wide left the first time, wide right here.
Well, and sometimes it gets in the kicker's head. They try to go wide left. They try to correct a little bit as far as their spots in which they're aiming at. Maybe a little bit of too much of an incorrection in that place. See him push it wide right. There's not much wind in the stadium either. So clearly just a miss.
Vizcaino coming in had only missed. Or Vizcaino had only attempted one all season prior to that. Bender hits Marks. Ball came out. It's a live ball, and Gardenhire's got a touchdown. "26 yards. Marks is hurt. Back where he was hit.
Washington State continues to utilize some of these short crossing routes as we watch Gabe Marks move across the field. As he gets bent back. Clearly Marks in a lot of play. Gardenhire is able to pick up the football and take it in for the touchdown, but take a peek to see if his elbow or forearm was down before he lost possession of the football.
Still checking on Marks. By the way, that last field goal was missed by Vizcaino. That was his first attempt. First one, the one before that was Van Winkle. So each with a miss here in the 4th quarter. Continue to take a look at Gabe Marks.
Marks, who caught 4 touchdown passes earlier this season in one game versus Arizona State. It's tied for the most in the country. Only 3 others were able to do so.
Jadon Mickens showing respect, coming over and giving him a tap on the helmet. Another LA kid is Marks, Venice, California.
That's sometimes the thing that gets overlooked when you've got a rivalry, or an in-state rivalry, I should say. A lot of players on both these teams were recruited by both schools from similar areas, whether that's in the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast.
Marks redshirted last year after a really nice first couple seasons, but had some health issues, had some off the field issues, decided to take the year off, said it re-energized him, reinvigorated him coming into this year, and leading the Pac-12 in receptions this season. This is Van Winkle. Got it. Washington State got to within 2 touchdowns midway through the third quarter, but since then it's been all Washington cruising in the Apple Cup. Can't wait for tomorrow night on Fox, 7 Eastern, Notre Dame and Stanford. The Irish trying to get into the college football playoff. Stanford trying to take care of business and get into the Pac-12 title game, maybe win that, see how things fall. All starts at 7 Eastern right here on Fox. You've played Stanford a time or two in your day as a Notre Dame quarterback. Look at them biceps.
Look at this stat, though, the 48-yard punt.
Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There was a quick kick involved.
Did you get a good roll, or did you just nail it?
I hit it pretty good, but yeah, we used to beat down on Stanford a little bit back then, so I wouldn't mind put on the pads and strap it up for a game like that tomorrow. I'm trying to help the Irish out.
Only Domer ever to go 4-0 at quarterback against Stanford. It will be 7 o'clock on Fox tomorrow. Karen Priester from his own goal line. Hemmed in, shy of the 15. All right, so we're going to get video evidence of that quick kick.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You got to be 7 yards back, but here's the issue. If I'm not mistaken, I think it rolls into the end zone. So my receivers didn't get down there fast enough. Look at that. I'm so mad about it. The net average didn't come out quite as good. But, you know, the distance. It was all about distance there.
How about DeShone Kizer, quarterback now at Notre Dame, trying to bounce back from not a very good performance against Boston College.
Really, the offense in general struggled last week versus BC in a home game in Fenway Park.
Yeah.
A little bit interesting, but they've got to play much better if they want to try to beat Stanford.
Bender gets intercepted. Victor to the house. Another defensive touchdown.
See the look at Mike Leach's face, just disbelief. I mean, this Washington defense has just been airtight all day long. Where do you throw the football? There's just nowhere to go with the football. Azim Victor making the incredible snag and then run for the touchdown, but you can see why this Washington defense has been so effective. The Cougars one-dimensional, just nothing they can do but try to throw the football to get back into this game.
6 Washington State turnovers on a day where they were without their probably All-American quarterback, Luke Falk. Bender gets intercepted. Victor, the sophomore out of Compton, California, straight to the house. Washington is pulled away with a couple of defensive touchdowns, 45-10. For the 4th consecutive time, Washington State comes into this meeting ranked. They will lose 2001, 2, and 3. They were a top 10 team and got beat by Washington. Here's a nice return. Out across the 45-yard line. Tackle made by Vizcaino. And on the return from Caleb Fossum.
Well, Fossum's gonna receive a few comments from some teammates. Never want to get tackled by the kicker.
Not like that.
Not like that. Not Vizcaino kind of throwing him to the ground. Look at this. One, you want to be able to outrun him, but throws him out the club.
I think Fossum got up and stared him down, too. Lewis out of the backfield with the flag down. I think Bender got hit late or low.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 96 on the defense. 15 yards out at the end of the play. First down.
Shane Bowman, we see him clearly get through the face mask of Peyton Bender.
Wicks. Ball came out. Go figure at this point. Say that he was down. Nice first down carry. Sophomore to Long Beach.
I would have liked to see Washington State try to run the football a bit more earlier in this game just to help out Peyton Bender, not put him in a position where he's constantly having to throw balls out late in the flat and kind of dink and dunk down the field. Just a lot to ask of a redshirt freshman.
Timeout, Washington. That's their first. 30-second in duration.
A lot to ask of a redshirt freshman. His first collegiate start on the road.
That's only the 5th running play of the second half. Washington State came into this game having won 6 of 7, ranked for the first time since '06. But getting rolled in the Apple Cup. Taking a look at this last play to see if it's turnover number 7.
The rolling on the field, that when runner was down, the prior play is under further review.
But if this play is under review, that also means that they'll be able to review, if it's clear, who recovered the football. Let's see, number 24 Ezekiel Turner puts the initial hit, but it's actually Vita Vea. He's able to get his hand in on the football as it comes out, and it's pretty evident there by replay that Washington recovers the football.
Yep. Clearly out and then clear recovery. This is going to be the 7th turnover for Washington State.
Literally coming into this game with a positive turnover margin and walking away back in the negative and inching towards a -17 that they walked into the Apple Cup with a year ago.
They'd only turned it over 17 times all year coming into this game.
Now, we've already had one official review that we thought was pretty definitive, but and there's the recovery as you see number 20 Kevin King dive in. I'm hesitant to say that this will be a fumble and that it will be Washington's ball after what we thought was a fumble by Peyton Bender earlier in the game.
Yeah. Wound up calling that an incompletion.
After review, the ball was fumbled with an immediate recovery by the defense. First down, Washington.
Wow. 7 Washington State turnovers.
Maybe they should give Chris Peterson more extensions. They seem to play really well, in particular on defense when they pay the man.
Extended through 2020 yesterday. Nice Thanksgiving surprise for him. There's your turnover story. Ties the most in an Apple Cup since '03, those 7 turnovers. KJ Carta-Samuels comes into the game for Washington to run quarterback. Hands it off to Levon Coleman for a short gain.
Started a game earlier in the season versus Stanford. The injury to Jake Browning, and really after that game, Jake Browning kind of came in and we started to really see strides in his progression his true freshman year. Clearly no reason to put him in a position to be in the game at this point and risk any chance of an injury.
Coleman, who was the featured back most of last season, has taken somewhat of a back seat this year. There's a 9-yard pickup. There's Jake Browning. You asked coming into the game, could he put together back-to-back good performances, and he did.
It's a pretty solid performance. You know, I think he got some help from Myles Gaskin. He's definitely, you know, had better games as far as passing overall, making some big plays, but made the plays that needed to be made. Talking to head coach Chris Peterson, who said, what did you need to do on offense to come away with a victory? He said consistency, finishing drives, and no turnovers. Well, he had one today, but it clearly isn't going to hurt you when the opponent turns the ball over 7 times.
Coleman has a first down over the last 2 games. Browning 32 for 40. And you mentioned the help that he got from Myles Gaskin. 32 carries for 138.
Yeah, 4.3 a carry, and it's really been Myles Gaskin all year long. It's been the model of consistency for a true freshman, the way he's been able to carry this team at times when Jake Browning has struggled. Goes to show how special and what a bright future this Washington Husky team really has when you look at this roster and how young they are.
We were talking today on the way over to the stadium. Next year in the Pac-12, trying to break down what we thought Pac-12 title game might look like as Coleman runs for another first down. Start with the North. What do you think of this? This year's not even over, but looking ahead to next year, North Division.
Well, you'd think that teams like Oregon and Stanford would really be up at the top, but Kevin Hogan's going to be gone at quarterback for Stanford. Vernon Adams only had this year of eligibility, so they've got to start over again at the quarterback position. Now, Stanford will have McCaffrey back, but you've got to like your chances. These teams in particular, and their ability to be able to compete with the youth that they have. I mean, Luke Falk's only a redshirt sophomore. Peyton Bender, if you want to throw him in the mix there too. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman, so there's plenty of guys who I think both these teams are really looking forward to seeing their growth and maturation over the next few years.
76 freshmen or sophomores on this roster. You saw just a moment ago, only 13 seniors celebrating senior day today, and they're going to get those 15 extra bowl practices by winning this one. How important is that long term?
It's incredibly important. We actually had the opportunity after our coach was fired my sophomore year of choosing whether or not to go to a bowl game, and our 5th-year seniors and our seniors, 4th-year seniors in that case, kind of voted on it, and they thought it was in our best interest to go for the future of the program because of the additional practices and reps that we would get. Ironically enough, the head coach at that time was Tyrone Willingham, who was fired, who came here to Washington that following year.
Coleman, nice and shifty into Washington State territory. Washington's future is bright. So is Washington State's.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to replace, you know, a guy like Dom Williams on the outside at wide receiver. Extremely effective. Talked about defensively all day long. Destiny Vaya. He's been so productive. Penetrating line of scrimmage, getting plays in the backfield. Jeremiah Allison, another senior that's kind of been a leader for them at the linebacker position. So those sorts of guys, they've got to find ways of replacing them with leadership, really.
Producer of today's game is Eric Billigmeyer, director Jeremy Green, Brian Biederman, our associate director, Kevin Word, the broadcast associate, Mike Meza, computer statistician, Barry Allen, Paul Davis up here supporting us in the booth. Don Esposito, as always, leading our technical team, and best wishes to Jimmy Lucas, part of our TV family, not able to be with us on this Thanksgiving weekend. So Washington wins its 4th consecutive Apple Cup against a Washington State ranked team. 01, 02, 03, and now 15. They beat a ranked Cougar squad. 45-10, the final score. 7 Washington State turnovers. The Dr. Pepper one-of-a-kind plays of the game, they weren't really that unique. One-of-a-kind 7 plays of the game. 7 turnovers forced by UW.
I'll say there's a bunch of different flavors that encompass Dr. Pepper. Well, there's a bunch of turnovers today by the Huskies defense. Really create some sparks. We see Sidney Jones taking a pick 6 back to the house. We saw Azim Victor most recently. Darren Gardenhire here picking up the fumble, returning it for a touchdown. The Huskies defense was hungry, and they got fed. And I'm not talking about Thanksgiving dinner either.
awards, the one-of-the-kind Dr. Pepper plays of the game. Let's go down to Chris Button, who's with Coach Peterson.
Thanks so much, Coach. Congratulations on the win. We were talking about it, 7 turnovers. What did you guys find in this Washington State offense that you guys were able to exploit?
Well, I think our guys just kept chipping away. You know, we didn't get to the quarterback early on. We kept pushing the pocket, and eventually good things happened. And, yeah, we better not lose. We get 7 turnovers.
I'm sure what you'll like more than an Apple Cup win is now being bowl eligible. How vital and important is that for the young guys on this team to just get those extra practices in December?
Yeah, it's all important. Winning this game's important. Getting to play in other games important. There was a lot on the line, and these guys were, you know, our guys were all in on this, and, you know, at the end of the day, it showed up.
I appreciate the time, and the Gatorade bath will let you go dry off.
Okay.
Joe.
All right, Chris. So gets an extension earlier this week. Gets an Apple Cup win today. He's 2-0 in this series as head coach here in Washington. We'll be right back after a word from our local sponsors to wrap things up from Seattle. 6 of the last 7 Apple Cups won by Washington. This one behind 7 takeaways. 45-10 the final score. Darrell Daniels hopping up into the student section to join the party. And a UW grad, the Governor, Jay Inslee, presents the trophy. Used to be called the Governor's Trophy in this series. It's now the Apple Cup, and it's presented by the Governor. His wife is a Washington State grad. She might not let him in the door tonight.
He's probably going to be sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. Tomorrow, 6th-ranked Notre Dame taking on 9th-ranked Stanford in the biggest game of the weekend. All starts at 7 Eastern right here on Fox tomorrow evening. You'll be in studio for that one.
I will be. We'll be covering it. Matt Leinart, Coach Wannstedt, and Rob Stone breaking it down. This game came down to really turnovers and a bright future for the Washington Huskies. On both sides of the ball, we got a ton of playmakers, and for Washington State, they missed quarterback Luke Falk. The experience, the smart playmaking ability of their quarterback really hurt them today as Peyton Bender struggled.
UW headed to a bowl game with a 6th win, 6th consecutive season for Brady Quinn, Chris Button, and the rest of our fantastic crew. Joe Davis saying happy Thanksgiving weekend and so long from Seattle.